Okay, team, what is up? Looks like I'm up and live and I'm running, and I'm just gonna roll with this for now until I get some comments or if I hear something about, hey man, we can't hear you or we're not interested in what you're saying. Um, so what's up, guys? My name is JT Terrell. I work with a firm called Petra Coach here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, although we work all over the world. More specifically, I've got clients in Ireland. I've got clients in Ramallah, Palestine. Things are interesting for them right this second. You can imagine I've been busy with them on the phone. I've got clients here in Middle Tennessee, so it's kind of all over the board and all over the place. I wanted to start today by talking about this mentorship thing that we do and having coaching sessions like this and asking questions and listen, let's be honest. My list of credentials, I could produce a list for you if you would like. Started a business, sold a business, all that stuff, all the stuff that you want to do, that's fine. And that was a great, great learning experience, and I learned a lot over the course of time, kind of making that happen. But let's be honest, guys, I don't know a whole lot more than you do that I haven't learned the hard way, all right? So I'm going to give you some best practices today. Those are going to come out of books, generally speaking. Scaling Up is a really, really good book by a guy named Vern Harnish. If you want to learn about scaling up, go read it. If you want to have a coach come teach you how to do scaling up stuff, you would hire somebody like me. That's the process that I use. But it's not the only process. There's a lot of good stuff at EOS, Traction, a lot of great ways to run your business. When I get opinionated on this call particularly, and I start talking about, hey, you need to do this and you got to do this, that's because I probably made a mistake, and then I learned from that mistake, and now I feel passionately about it. So you can take that with a grain of salt as well. I don't know everything. In fact, the first question I have here in front of me, I don't even know what it's about, and I'm going to tell you, hey, I do not know what it's about. No problem. So we just want to, let's be honest with each other in this conversation. And a lot of people would say, hey, JT, and as far as AO is concerned, why are you mentoring these people? You've got a full plate, you're crazy busy and all this stuff. And the fact is, not only is Sean cool, and I've known him a long time, then I met all of you guys, and I think you're all really cool. And I just like to be in your world, and it gives me energy to be with a bunch of young, new entrepreneurs at the beginning of a great journey. So as long as you guys will have me, I'll be here. Ari, hi, you waved at me, appreciate it. Okay, let's roll through these questions. Now, one thing I'm not sure of, I don't know if all of the mentors get the same questions on the same day. I hope we're not being, redundant. I'm gonna give you my take on these. Might be different from Dan's or Sean's or somebody else's. Somewhere in the middle of that is where you need to take that kind of aggregate knowledge, do your research, take some action. And just remember, all these things we're talking about are about only as good as the stuff you go do. So we'll talk, and then we'll go and start doing stuff, and that's how we start to make a difference. Now, I did put a disclaimer, I think that I put out on the AO channel. I said, hey man, I'm doing my one-on-one, or I'm doing my mentoring on Tuesday. Come and there'll be takeaways that will change your business and you will get value. And that part I can damn sure guarantee, but you gotta go do stuff. Nobody cares what I think about these concepts. Nobody cares how you feel about receiving the knowledge. By God, you're gonna have to go do stuff with this knowledge, and then you'll start to see the benefits, right? So if that can be our agreement, let that be our agreement. Okay, first question here. And this is from Stephen Davis. I came across an article about performance coaching. After doing a little research, it seems to be a new type of coaching. Have you ever dealt with performance coach? What does it involve? How does it differ in what our current coaches offer? Here is a great answer. Are you ready? I don't know. I've heard of performance coaching, but as I looked it up, I Googled it just like anybody else. Pretty broad. I don't know if it's a new kind of business coaching, or everything I saw was just kind of like, hey man, hey, performance coaching has to do with anything, whether it's wellness or mental performance or life coaching or whatever. So as far as that firm is concerned, I really don't know what it's all about. However, it sounds good. Sounds like helping people come up and develop things that they need to go work on and then holding them accountable. That's all there is to it. I mean, let's be honest. That's all I do. That's my entire role. And with these companies who I work with, is I get a bunch of smart, just like when I'm in the room with you, a bunch of smart, driven people who write down what they're going to go do, and then they just need someone to help keep them on track and to hold them accountable for actually doing that stuff. That is not easy. Because as human beings, we're busy and we don't have time to go do stuff. No problem. Every excuse in the world. So as we roll through this is what I want you to do. If you're watching this now, or if you're watching it on a replay, we're going to talk about some concepts in each one of these questions. You're going to write down what you could go do. You're going to choose what you will do, and then you must go take some action, right? If you go do that, it'll be a great use of time, okay? So, Stephen, I don't know a lot about performance coach. However, I was on the L train in Chicago a few years ago when we were renovating this house where I am now. You'll see my dog in the background here in a second. And I was on the L train. We were living in Chicago for about a year and a half, and it was awesome. And this guy saw, Petra Coach, saw the logo on my computer or whatever, and he said, "Hey, what is that?" And I told him, I said, "Hey, man, best practices. We help people, remove the word try from their vocabulary. We teach people best practices and things to go do, and then they do, and they either succeed or they fail and they learn. Right? That's it." And the guy said, "I don't get it. Are you a life coach or something?" And I laughed and I said, in a million years, I would never refer to what I do as life coaching. However, I think that's exactly what it is. Now, it just so happens that this coaching that I do and that people in my firm do specifically, it starts with business concepts and things that you need to go get done, but it permeates every area of your life. If you create discipline around the things that you need to go do, whether it's learning, and I see some jokes in here already about books. Like Sean said, and I know I'm not supposed to be distracted, but hell, I never follow the rules. Sean said they were laughing at the EO retreat at his house this weekend, which looked amazing, about, hey, JT is always full of books, and if you spent all day, all the time, you'd never read all the books that he lays out there. Now, that part is true. However, the important part is kind of developing the discipline around cracking a book open and reading it and making progress to the end, and you shut it, and then you go and take action on it. That's the life coaching part of it. Hey, couldn't I listen to that book and get the information? Sure you could. Couldn't I watch a podcast with an author? Sure you could. Would it be as good as cracking that book open? No fucking way. Because when you open that book up, it's a decision. I'm going to spend some time doing this. And then you start reading. And then you're making notes. And then you're deciding to take action. And you're getting inspired. So do not get it twisted when I say, I love podcasts are great. Audible, and I listen to Audible on planes and stuff. Like, I don't spend all day reading. I wish I could, but I don't have time. But trust me when I tell you, if you want to develop that discipline around reading, crack a book open, make notes. There's no substitute for that. Okay. And coming back to performance coaching, Stephen, I'm not sure what they do. If you're talking about performance coach as an actual firm that's working with businesses, I have no idea. And that's not that I don't think what they do is valuable. My main thing is I just don't have time. Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing what I do at a super high level for all the clients who I work with and everybody I'm ever going to work with all over the world. I just don't have time to research that stuff. Not saying it's good or bad. I don't know what their cost is. Maybe it's more palatable and maybe it's more affordable. I don't know. I know that what I do is exceptionally expensive. Incredibly expensive is another way to put it, and incredibly valuable and worth it, 10 or 100x is another way to put it. So I know the value in what I do. I don't research other firms. However, Stephen, I know you're a cool guy, and I know you're all about research. If you can hit me with some knowledge about, hey, JT, just send me some stuff and say, man, this is really cool. They look at it this way. I'd love to learn, man. I like to learn from you guys. Hell, I learn as much from y'all as you do from me when we're together. And that should be the same on these kind of back and forth. So, quick answer on performance coach is I don't know. The long answer is in any coaching, from anybody who's got some credibility and who can hold you accountable to go do the shit that you said you need to do, I think it's good coaching. Okay? All right. Let's go to Dan. Dan had one here. This is a good one. He said, how can I come to a new equity agreement with my partner while addressing his concern? And you go into the background of the question. Dan talks about he started as a coder in a tech startup. He has evolved to the CTO, although his equity share has not changed. And his CEO, Todd, is hesitant to redefine the equity until they finish a business plan and get their ducks in a row. So that part I get. Now this is the part, we have a large bill coming due June 1st, which Dan, the person asking the question, will need to pay the loan on. And he's the only funding source as of now, and he's been fine paying the bills as they come, but he feels like his current 3% equity is not enough to justify long-term debt. And yes, I completely agree. I'm not taking sides here, I just agree with that statement. Todd's concern is overpromising equity. In a previous startup, he'd given 20% to 3 different people and had not thought about what it would be like bringing on additional investors or for himself. And then Dan's idea is we could proportionately decrease current equity shares to offer new equity to partners, right? So dilution of equity. And that part I totally agree with. There's always some wiggle room later. Now, the thing is, and what I heard here is, how can I come to a new equity agreement with my partner while addressing his concern? Dan, I'm not sure you can. I'm all about being safe, and that's fine. Dan, this is JT's personal advice, right? So you can take this and throw it right out the window, or you can do something with it. I would not go signing on to any more long-term debt at 3% damn equity. I just wouldn't. I'm not saying that you shouldn't or wouldn't. I don't want to be in the middle of your business, but you kind of invited me into the question. I wouldn't do it. What I would do is say, hey, I'm looking for additional equity before I go forking over any more dough or signing my name on anything. And also, part of it is, pre-money valuation type stuff, right? So the next time that you need money, there's a new money round, and some of the equity might be diluted based on the amount of money you're raising. But then it starts to feel like, hey, would you rather have 15% of something worth this much, or would you rather have 12.5% of something worth this much, right? So that's where you can really dig in. You might want to do some research on dilution tables. There's no less than, oh, good God, there's probably 1,000 different case studies on the way that people raised money in the beginning. And I know that you're hip to, you're in a tech startup, right? So you know all of these. My wife's got a startup downtown, and they're raising their Series A right now, and they went through a little bridge round. So like, this is the world we're living in. There will be dilution of shares. And none of it matters if the shares are worthless. Do you get that? Right? So if bringing on new money in another equity round will allow you to grow and go to the next level, and the shares are worth more, and if you can get Todd kind of to wrap his mind around that, then you guys maybe could move forward. And then if you wanted to have a larger equity stake in order to sign on this longer term debt, that completely makes sense to me. I know that can get a little bit, touchy between partners and stuff, and I get it, and that's why you guys have to be very upfront with each other, and you've got to talk about this stuff rather than just pretending like it's all good, because it is not. You need to get that shit hammered out now. Operating agreements and the like, and all the way on down the line, right? So I hope that you go do that, and please reach out to me and let me know how it goes. I'd just be interested to know. That's jt@petracoach.com. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one here. Heather asked, what are some good responses when your employees are constantly talking about how tired they are, comparing themselves to you, saying they're not robots like you, right? And everybody knows how hard Heather works. And it's very difficult to be compared to Heather. So everybody gets that. Background of the question. Groomers work 4 days, a full-time shift. Most of them have 10-hour days. And Heather gets tired of hearing how they're tired all the time. They have the potential to make more money than any other company. So that's got a little, I might have a connection problem, but I'm just going to keep rolling here. Now, my question, Heather, is do you have any core values? Do you have any core values for your business? And I know we've talked about this before, and I'm because we've talked about this before, and because you're a great student and a hard worker, I'm sure you do have core values. And so I just want to lay this out really quickly. And if this is your first time hearing about this stuff, please take note. Foundational parts of your business. Okay, and I'm gonna write some stuff down here so that we get this. All right, let me get my markers. Here we go. All right, so let's talk about foundational stuff in your business. You start with your core purpose, why you exist as an organization. Okay, and that's why you exist in the world. And Heather, I don't know what yours is, but it might be, hey, you exist to help people take care of their pets, and I would say, God, why is that important to take care of people's pets? And they would say, well, people love their pets and they just don't have time, or they don't have the knowledge, they don't know how to clip the fingernails, they don't know how to bathe them without making a freaking mess, right? So you might say you make it easy for people to love their pets, right? You make it easy for them to show love and take care of their pets. That'd be a great purpose. Purpose. We exist to make it easy for people to love and take care of their pets. That's cool. Which also implies no matter how you do that. Heather, that's where we were talking about grooming, pet sitting, dog walking, white labeling food. It doesn't matter. That purpose it goes with your brand wherever it goes, right? Cool. So that's your purpose. That's why you exist. BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. That's where you're going as an organization, right? Right now you've got X amount, let's say 10 trucks, and your idea of success would be to have 100 trucks and doing $100 million in revenue, and you want to be in every big market in Texas, and that would just be fairly unbelievable and crazy, and that would be a big, hairy, audacious goal you could build your plan around, right? So your purpose, we make it easy for people to take care of and love their pets, and BHAG is where we're going. This is where we're going as an organization. Your core values, okay? Your core values are, it's a list of ideals and the way that we behave inside of the organization. So our core values are who we must be, why we exist, where we're going, who we must be to get there and fulfill our purpose. Make sense? So, Heather, you might put, listen, I'm going to throw this as a good example. My wife's company downtown, we worked on their core values. They are a tech startup. They work their asses off all the time. And they know that's part of the deal. If you come work in her organization, it is an ass kicking all the time, not forever. It's an ass kicking for the next 2 or 3 years until they can get acquired, make something happen. But right now it is balls to the wall, and they've got a core value, quite literally is stated, outwork everybody every time. Right? So they've got some other ones, have fun, have passion, on down the line. But they've got one, and the first core value is outwork everyone every time. And that's imperative. Imperative means you have to do that in order to be on this team. And Heather, if you had one like that, I'm not saying it has to be that, but if you had one like that for your groomers and said, listen, embrace the opportunity. Be willing to do what others won't. Outwork everyone every time. When you're bringing groomers on, if you said, hey, listen, in order to exist in this organization, you have to live these core values. And our number one core value is outwork everybody every time. Or the number one core value is we don't get tired, period. That would eliminate a lot of the nonsense. And listen, people work hard and they're allowed to be tired. And don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit passionate. And certainly, Heather, I'm on your side because I love you. You're awesome. I just want you to be thinking about, hey, how can I lay out to the people who work with me, and they do work with you, not for you. Nobody works for you. They work with you. They work for themselves. Don't get it twisted, entrepreneurs. Yeah, core values would solve a lot of that. Because if I was out working with people on site, or I was in the daily huddle or whatever, and people are talking about being tired, I would go, oh, time out, core value number one, we don't get tired. I don't know what to tell you. Go take a nap, go take some vitamins, drink less at night, whatever it takes. We don't get tired. Next question, right? And that can help people kind of, once everybody adopts that mindset, it's just almost like magic. When people adopt that mindset, it really works. And people go, you know what? We don't get tired here. Sorry, this is the part of the job. 10 hours a day, wrestling big ass dogs into the bathtub, and it's hard work, and it's worth it because why? We're making it easy for people to love and care for their pets. Everything goes back to the purpose, okay? I hope that that's helpful. Heather. All right, we're jamming today. I don't know if you can hear my dog behind me. He might be making some noises, just excuse him. He is not very well behaved. I need a trainer. Heather, maybe you can help me with that. All right, okay, Ashley Laterno says, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come off as spammy? And the background is she owns residential commercial cleaning company, developing a master list of home builders and their construction new build locations in Ottawa. I want to reach out to them, offering my services, secure my spot on their bid list, etc. Well, Ashley, I don't know if anybody told you about it, but you've come to the right person. Because right this second, I work with about 23 firms across the globe, and more than half of them are production home builders. 6 of the top 20 privately owned production home builders in the United States are my clients. And construction companies and stuff like that. I got a bunch of people that build stuff. So I know how these people think. So I think I'll be helpful on this one. Ashley said, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come off as spammy? Ashley, come off as spammy. Who cares? Those people need you. Their biggest constraint, especially right this second, and I don't care if it's in Ottawa or in Lebanon, Tennessee, or in damn Bangladesh, all of them they need contractors and vendors they can count on that do a good job at a fair price, that are going to show up and produce good results. Ashley, another way to put it is you've got these people by the balls right this second. If I was you, I'd be as spammy as possible to get out in front of people and meet them and let them know you can do what they need, and let them know when you can start. Now is not the time to be subtle, Ashley. Subtlety is dumb and it does not work. That's the book that I am going to write. But for right now, let's skip past that. Ashley, just start calling people. If you have a presentation deck or something that you could send them, that's even better. Check this out. Okay, this might be helpful. There is a book called They Ask You Answer, and it's a selling book. Okay, and particularly in how you should sell using video. Much more palatable. So Ashley, here's some stuff you could go do. You could put together a wonderful, quick video with I'm sure your lovely face, doing a presentation, saying, hey, I'm Ashley, the name of my company is, I'm here in the Ottawa area, I'm focused in on home builders and commercial builders and retail spaces and whatever. These are all the things that I do. This is a client list of people who I've worked with. I'm ready to start working right now. And here's a link, you can set up an appointment with me. And just create that video and then send those out. If you send a video out, it's much more like, oh, by the way, if you send it through Vidyard, make sure I spell this correctly, Vidyard, Vidyard. If you do it through that, you can see who actually opens it, who watches it the whole time, and you really can be laser focused on who you follow up with. Video selling is the thing to do, particularly for you, because these home builders don't have time during the day. They're busy doing shit, and at night they go back through their emails, and they hate doing it, although they will watch a video that's professionally done. And I don't mean like in a studio. You don't have to spend $1,000. Do what I did. I put an iPad up. I got a nice background. My dog's back there somewhere, where I can be clearly understood and heard, and that's it, right? So Ashley, go do that. The only other thing I might recommend, I'm looking at your, and you probably have this, but I'm looking at your email address. Certainly it's a Gmail. Don't worry, I have a Gmail as well. I think people probably are a little bit less inclined to open something that feels spammy or like someone they don't know if it's a Gmail or if it's a Yahoo, as opposed to, Ashley at commercialcleaner.com. So there may be a little bit of investment there. If you don't have those email addresses, don't sweat it. It's not expensive. You could go and grab your, go on GoDaddy and get yourself a domain name. I think I own about 30 right now, so they're not particularly expensive, $8 a month or something. And that's all you have to do to have an email address associated with your domain, right? If you don't have a website yet. So just go do that. That really will pay off. It'll help. And those home builders, do not be afraid to be very direct. They appreciate that. They need what you do right now so badly. I would just go after them and just start collecting your new client list. Boom. Start working with them. And I like the last part here. You said, I want to offer them my services. I want to start reaching out to them, offering them my services, and secure my spot on their bid list. Just keep in mind, Ashley, when you start to do this work, the only fucking thing that you care about is securing your spot on the bid list. We're not going to start reaching out. We're not going to offer them services. By Christ, we're going to connect with those people using video. We're going to follow up on the phone, and we're going to get some commitments of work. We're going to start rocking and rolling. It's cool, by the way, Ashley, you'll be known for that kind of direct communication, and you'll be known for being responsive. If it was me, with home builders particularly, I'd say, hey, the number I just called you on is my cell phone, and I always answer it. So Mr. and Miss Home Builder, if you use us for cleaning job sites and whatever, and then you have an issue or something comes up and you need my team, call me. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. That's all they really want. They want vendors that they can count on. And right now, y'all are in short supply. Vendors and talent. And I'm here to tell you, right now it's the only constraint as far as I can tell for home builders. Hot market, well, that and materials are a total freaking mess. It's a whole different thing. They still need what you do. Okay, so go get them, Ashley. And feel free to reach out to me for any other questions. And if I had any home builders in Ottawa, I would have already mentioned them and sent you their info. I don't though. I don't have, I've only got one client in Canada and they do not do home building. Okay, let's go to AJ. AJ said, how do I begin training my first hire? And kind of talks about growth agency, web development. We're financially at the point to hire somebody. I'm excited to train him to do low value tasks that are currently on my plate, and I'm nervous about this. Most first hires don't work out well. Okay, I'm just gonna circle that one real quick. Not sure I agree with that one, but that's okay. I've also seen how training process can make or break. Now that part I damn sure agree with. So we can, AJ, we're together on that. As I know, many first hires don't work out well. I'm not exactly sure that that is true because, AJ, I think you're going into it the right way. That doesn't have to be true, let's put it that way. There's a book called Top Grading. It is very intense. It's kind of boring. It's a little bit laborious and it takes a long time to hire people, okay? There was another book written by one of the co-authors of Top Grading called Who? The A Method of Hiring. And it's about this thick. Go read that book, okay? Because it simplifies it. I would definitely use a process to make a first hire. Definitely, so you're on the right track there. I'd also create what I call a job scorecard, right? Job description is one thing, fine. Let me show you what I mean by a job scorecard. Not complicated, okay? Anybody doing anything. Heather and her groomers, anybody, right? Job scorecard. Okay. All you really want to do is put together this list. I'm going to show you what this is. Results, responsibilities. You can screen capture this or whatever. Okay. So this is chicken scratch, but don't worry about it. This says core competencies and responsibilities of the role, the results of the role, and the core values of your organization. Okay? So if you hire, AJ, you go hire this dude or this chick or whoever, I don't care who it is. Let's pretend like it's Ari. You know, Ari's busy enough. We're going to pretend like you're hiring Ari, who is amazing, by the way. She's going to be a great core values fit. I would sit down with Ari and I would say, hey, into this role, these are some things. Here's your job scorecard, meaning I am going to evaluate you on this job scorecard from time to time. And I'm going to show you where your blind spots are so you can help get better and we can make sure this hire is a good hire, right? Make sense? Sure. These are the core competencies of the role. Like you have to know how to use Word and you have to know how to use Excel, if those are true, and on down the line. These are the responsibilities of the role, this role particularly. I'm going to ask you to do this thing, this thing, this thing. I'm going to ask you also to get my dry cleaning and feed my dog, whatever. I don't care what it is. It should be listed. These are the desired results from this role. Okay, and it should be, you're going to answer all of my email for me and you're only going to forward the ones to me that I deem are important, necessary. You're going to do all this stuff. We're going to eliminate my inboxes. I'm going to have 0 in my inbox at the end of the day or whatever that is. And then talking about Heather earlier, these are the core values of our organization. Okay? And our core values are outwork everybody all the time. Do what you say you're going to do. And, be quick, but don't hurry. Right? And what that means to us is, we don't get tired. This is a badass business made up of badasses, and we get stronger as the game goes on. And this means this, right? And then you will have completely laid out the expectations of their role for that person, so or they might say, you know what, I can't do that. I do get tired, and I need to take a nap every day at 2:00, and this is probably not the right role for me. Now, if somebody said that to me, I might laugh in their face, and I might also shake their hand and say, thank you for being honest with me. This is not the role for you. You just saved me some money and time. But AJ, when you're talking about, hiring and training, this is the training right here. We got a scorecard. We train people on these responsibilities and how they actually do what they do. Okay. And then we just stay with them and say, hey, great results. You're kicking ass. Awesome. Hey, your results have been for shit. This is not good. We need to do something else, put you in a different role. Either way, you're giving people feedback that they can use and do something with. And then the only other thing, this is a good thing, AJ, if this is your first time hiring and training somebody, do this, trust me on this. Particularly around web development, those kinds of things. Well, also, before you hire somebody, let's just throw this out there. Before you hire a human being, ask yourself these questions. Could you automate this thing you want them to do? You probably can. Maybe you should. Could you forget about these dumbass things you're going to ask them to do because they're just not important? It's possible they're not important, right? So, and I'm not casting aspersions on AJ or anybody else. It's like if everybody, hey, give me a laundry list of stuff that you do all day, all the time. And I guarantee you a lot of that stuff you do could be done by somebody else, or maybe could just be ignored flatly. You do it because you know how to do it and it makes you feel good to do things you know how to do. It's a quick win. It's a human being thing. Everybody wants that. However, AJ, now that we've gone through the list and we've decided, okay, we do need someone to come and do these things, I list them right here. And then as I'm teaching or training that person how to do it, guess what, AJ? I'm running a camera. You're going to have to teach somebody else at some point. So QuickTime video is free. Like if you have, I don't know if you have a Mac or whatever, I think you can run QuickTime on any computer. Pull up QuickTime, download it, hit record, and then it will record your screen share and your voice, and you're just creating training videos. And that sounds like, oh my God, that's so freaking crazy. That's going to take a long time. I don't have time for all that shit. No. You're doing it anyway. You might as well capture it on video and be able to use it later. That's all. Just create a bank of learning. Boom, 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 boom. That's going to pay off later, right? Okay, Rosalie, speaking of people who I really, really like, Rosalie asked a question, and it's a good one. I'm sure I got all these. Yeah. Rosalie asked the question. This is pretty broad. See if I can be helpful here. How do you get out of your own way to reach your goals in business? And she was vulnerable, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to honor it. She said, I have a small accounting firm. I keep sabotaging myself, and I want to be intentional about stopping the self-sabotage. First of all, Rosalie, thank you for asking that question in such a vulnerable way, because everybody on this, all these comments and people liking and whatever, and right now people are not saying anything because they all are in touch with that, man. They all are. All the way up to the grand poobah, Sean, in different ways, right? And he would say, yeah, there's probably some stuff he's still self-sabotage. There's a bunch of stuff he's gotten over completely. You know what I mean? He knows how to kick ass. He knows how to have strategy. He knows how to do it. And then guess what? We all have a new list of stuff that we self-sabotage on, right? So whether it's the stuff on the ground floor, or whether it's the stuff where Sean is living way up and top down on an organization and driving strategy, it's a great question. We all sabotage ourselves, and we want to be intentional. So one thing, I think some learning around this probably, Rosalie, from my standpoint, this is just me, is how, and I'm going to talk about him like he's here, but y'all know Joe, the home bro. Joe's the man. And Deanna. All right, both of them, I've been on their asses since I met them about pushing their revenue in the same way, Tom Black talks about revenue and everybody's talking about them. Really, the thing that I'm pushing on them is I think you are too self-limiting in what's possible. You're too self-limiting in what's possible. Rosalie, so here's an exercise for Rosalie. Okay, let's talk about same time, rolling 12-month revenue. Rosalie, I don't know what your revenue is. And if you said for 2022, let's pretend like it's November and we're talking about next year holistically. And you said, next year, I want to do $1 million in revenue. And I don't know what you did this year, and maybe it's 200,000 or maybe it's 20,000, or I don't even care. I want to do $1 million in revenue. Okay, cool. I dig that. What I would do, the exercise is add a zero. Add a zero. And then tell me, what do you have to do $10 million in revenue? And you would go, oh God, JT, that's crazy. I couldn't do that. I don't know enough people. And then you would say, well, I mean, if we're talking crazy, if we're dreaming to do $10 million, I probably would have to have 20 accountants on my payroll, or working as contract for me. And I'd be the one just going out there and getting the business, because accountants, newsflash, accountants are not all that social. And usually they suck at selling their services and they freaking hate it. So if you could come in and just be really, really good at selling accounting business to accountants who just want to sit at home and do the accounting part, and that's a lot of them, that's how you do that. $10 million top line, and you'd run it through 20 or 30 accountants, and you would do all of their sales and marketing for them, and for that you would get a piece, and they would perform the work, and that'd be awesome. And that might change the way, Rosalie, the way you look at your business. Here's the cool part though, if you did this, and even if you just took this, if you just said, okay, now I'm gonna go back to 1 million, but I wanna have some other people doing work on my behalf. I want to do the things I'm really good at because I'm not great at this over here. Fine. Once you've done that, you're taking the self-sabotage out of it, right? Now you are not self-sabotaging and saying, hey, I can't do that. I'm too small of a firm. I can't make that happen. Not true. Because in your mind's eye and where you're going, you're not a small firm. You got 20 or 30 people working with you. You just have to build the plan and make it fly, right? And I feel like, Rosalie, what you're doing now, just kind of based on the way this is worded, it feels like, hey, Rosalie, I'm just gonna do more of what I know how to do, And then eventually stuff happens. You lose a client, or you run out of bandwidth, or the person who was helping you goes to have a baby and leaves, or, and I don't mean that, whether it's male or female, don't matter. That's the self-sabotage. It's all between your ears. It's not just your ears, it's everybody commenting here. It's everybody out there living. It's everybody. We all self-sabotage. And you need to learn to be fearless, not reckless. Please learn how to be fearless, okay? I've had people have asked me, and this is not, I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. It's not like that. I don't even care. Although I'm exceptionally comfortable when I walk into new business surroundings, I'm exceptionally comfortable in just kind of rolling in and telling people what we're going to do that day and having an agenda and kind of coaching them right off the bat. I don't care who it is. I don't give a damn. You could have put me in the room with Trump and his cabinet to do a coaching session, and we know, can you imagine anybody who'd be more difficult to coach than Donald Trump? This is not a political statement. I'm just saying, the dude doesn't want to hear it from damn near anybody, right? You get it? And I work with people like that sometimes. I just don't give them a choice. Hey, I'm here. I'm the one standing up here. I'm the one with the microphone. I'm the one with the agenda. We are going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to demonstrate the value of that over the course of this session. And hopefully by the end, I have those hard cases coming up to me saying, hey man, at the beginning, I don't know what the fuck you were talking about, but I really thought it was good. Great, man. Thank you for the feedback. Love it. And sometimes people come up and said, hey, you know, listen, that wasn't a complete waste of time. I didn't get what I wanted. And I accept the feedback and say, hey man, can you tell me what you wanted to take away so I can learn, right? Almost invariably, they'll give me some good feedback, and then I get invited back. And I use that feedback, and then, you know what? Then I'm able to deliver more and give them, you know, maybe a more powerful message to them. It's rooted in fearlessness. I can't be effective. And so I'm going to tell you about me so you can internalize it and you can learn about you. I can't go do what I need to do unless I'm fearless. I don't want to be reckless, but I have to be fearless. And even if I've got a, hell, okay, I'm going to give y'all an example. Now, this is not me talking about proprietary knowledge of a customer. It's not. I just want you to learn from it. Okay, I mentioned I have a client who's got 200 employees. 80 of them are software developers, and they live in Ramallah. Ramallah is in Palestine, the state of Palestine. If you know what's going on right now, Israel and Palestine have sparked back up, shooting rockets at each other. It's going bad. And somewhere in the course of that company, and they're a global technology company, they have like a Slack channel that they communicate on. Well, some of the people in Ramallah were putting stuff on the Slack channel about, you know, Free Palestine, hashtag Free Palestine, and whatever. And as we all know, that's an incredibly sensitive subject. Almost everybody has an opinion on it. I'm not going to share mine. But anyway, that stuff started going on in the company's Slack channel. And so the head HR in the company yanked it off the Slack channel and said, hey, this is not here for political stuff or whatever. Anyway, that did not go over well to 80 people who are terrified at the moment that they might have a rocket coming through the window of their office building at some point. So yesterday, I had to jump on, yesterday, it was the middle of the night. I jumped on a call with the CEO, the head of people, and 80 people who wanted to have a discussion about how they felt like they were not being heard on this issue, and that they were just being managed and controlled. And when I tell you, I had no idea what in the world I was going to say to these people. I didn't have it. I don't have a business exercise for this. You know what I'm saying? However, the one thing I did have was I've done presentations for these people before. They see me as a calming force, and they see me as somebody who can cut through the bullshit and get down to some actionable stuff to make things better. which is good. So all I did was show up on that call with an open heart, not having damn near any of the answers. And that was the first thing that I said to them. I said, hey guys, I know what happened today on the Slack channel. The CEO called me, wanted me to be a part of this because I want to be able to make a difference and be able to be helpful. I said, so let me just start by saying, I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't have an exercise for this, although I feel like the 80 of you just really want to be heard. So let's start there. We're not going to do this for 3 hours. I said we got about 20 minutes. So everybody's going to get a little blurb there. Anybody who wants to raise their hand, you go right ahead. Okay, first, you go right ahead. We'll give you about 30 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. And then over time, people got heard, get off their chest. It was very emotional. You can imagine it's scary. These people are scared. They're living in the middle of war, which we cannot, we can't, I'm hoping that you can't relate to. I can't relate to it. And it was scary to ask those questions. I learned a lot. It was scary for the CEO. It was scary for them. But we got to the end and we said, okay, can we all agree that we want to keep this dialogue open? And what I'd like to do is do it on a different Slack channel where we can keep this running dialogue going on between the executives in New York City and the people in Ramallah, so that if just, number one, if you're afraid, you can just say that. If you can't get your work done, you can say that. If you can't even get out to go to work, you can say that. We figured that out. However, let's leave our normal Slack channel, which is dedicated to everyday comings and goings and stuff going on with the software. Let's leave that one alone. We'll just create a new one temporarily. And then hopefully when this thing kind of calms back down, if we feel like we don't need it anymore, we'll do away with it. Can we do that, right? And it helped. And was everybody happy as a clam? No, there were still some people who were mad about the way the company handled it, whatever. But they couldn't argue with the way that they handled it on that call, right? They weren't there to squelch anybody's opinions or anybody's fear. So Rosalie, to answer your question, I could have self-sabotaged before I went into that call and said, JT, you don't know shit about this. How in the hell are you going to add value? Dude, you just need to say you're busy or you can't be on it. And I said, you know what? This is what I get paid for, man. I get paid to go in, and if I can lend some fearlessness to the CEO or to the founder, then I do that too. And if I just stand in the background while they do the hard thing, sometimes that's worth it as well. So Rosalie, I want you to keep working on growing kind of that fearlessness bone. Also, here it goes again, there's all kinds of books and stuff that you could do. I don't know if anybody on this call has ever dug into Tony Robbins stuff. There's a reason why he is the best in the world at what he does, and he has been for a long time. Dude's amazing. You should go, and there's a lot, since COVID, there's a bunch of Tony Robbins stuff online that doesn't cost $1 million. Like, I think you can go on and you can do some self-learning and platform stuff, and you can do that for, I don't know, off the top of my head, I may be just talking out of my ass. I can't imagine it's more than $100 a month or something. And damn, you will get a lot out of that. So if you want to get better at those things, you just make a commitment and go be fearless and go get some help. Self-help books, online platforms for that kind of stuff can really help. All right. So listen, guys, those were the questions for today. There weren't as many as there have been. That's fine. I kind of like that. I kind of felt like I could dig in a little more on some of those things. But I really appreciate the questions, and I appreciate being able to help you guys. I hope that it helped. And I'm always available to you guys, as you know. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you again very soon in person. And in the interim, just reach out through AO with questions and stuff. And that's all I got. So, guys, check me out. Please, if I think I'm friends with all of you on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. If not, please come check me out and jump on there, because I've been more active as of late. And love talking to you guys. So I will talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys.